What is actually happening with that green light? I have no idea. Comment and tell me if that is pulsating for you, because I just feel like I'm losing my eyesight. This has never happened before. Welcome back, my internet family. We're going to do a Q&A today, because why not? I have some juicy and interesting questions from you from Twitter. Haven't done one of these in a while. I'll dive in with this one because it's quite relevant to a post I put up on Instagram recently. Gabriella asked, what is your opinion on the current state of YouTube, beauty community drama, commentary channels making videos about people, the Chris Ingham situation? It's a loaded question. I'll try and keep my answer fairly short. The way YouTube is right now is massively demotivating for me and a lot of my friends who are full-time creators. The point at which people are being the most negative or dramatic or cruel, if they're having a personal breakdown, whatever it is, that's the point at which the algorithm will push them the most and repress a lot of, I don't know, just genuine creative educational content. The stuff that I feel brought us all here is just kind of being hidden. The beauty community drama, oh my goodness. I don't watch a lot of the big beauty YouTubers anymore ever since I found out that a lot of them use a real life Photoshop filter. Here is footage of that.
And I'm going to turn these lights on and show you how different it looks. Okay, so here you go. The lights are on. Now I film with these lights. Now there's nothing on my skin. So you can imagine if I put some stuff on my skin, it's going to look really, really flawless. And that's why I tend to look better in videos than I do in real life. I always think it's some living Photoshop. And I bought one. And I'm going to show you what it looks like now. There you go. There is nothing on my skin. All that has happened is I've added a filter and it has bleached out my skin to such an extent and smoothed it. And the funny thing about this is I can manipulate this. I can make it more or less or do anything I want. And it costs like £100, something like that. And it is so fundamentally wrong.
I feel like my trust has been shattered by so many people that I used to love watching. I liked watching them for their personalities mostly and their quirks and just to have a nice friendly voice in the background. But so much of it has just become so commercialized and all about money. What sucks the most, I feel like, is you can't escape it. Everyone's dragging everyone else. He said this, she said this about him saying this. The platforms the content's uploaded to is like shoving it up in our faces. I am trying to be really good with not clicking stuff like that because I feel like obviously every view is a vote. And sometimes I fall prey to it. I'm going to be honest, I'm not like bloody perfect, but I'm trying to watch stuff that's just more meaningful to me, where I'm connecting with an actual human being and not just kind of stirring the pot, you know. On the one hand, if you engage with negativity and stuff like that, you feed into it and it grows and grows and grows. On the other hand, you have some situations that you kind of cannot ignore morally, like as with the Chris Ingham situation, when there is that much evidence stacked up against you. For those of you who don't know, Chris is a very popular blogger who's been accused of essentially grooming young fans of his. I don't feel that he deserves the power that he has. I would love to see him leave YouTube, or at the very least that YouTube conventions continue to not allow him access to young girls, because it's disgusting. And in honesty, I don't expect to see anything actually happen. You know, there's unfortunately been worse than Chris, who are, you know, they're still making videos and nothing has happened. I think when the president of the United States can come out and gloat about sexual harassment and still stay in office, it just says a lot about where we're at as a society. And in those situations, I do think it's important to speak up. But when it's just petty drama and pettiness and I am making a promise right now to you guys, I am done engaging with that stuff. If you want to enter into a little pact with me and swear off watching all of that kind of gossipy stuff, we can hold each other accountable. I think it's important for our mental health. When I read too much, you know, clashing opinions and stuff, I actually get a physical knot in my stomach and it hurts. Like it's not like a physical pain, but it's like this really uncomfortable feeling. It's just anxiety. It's like a big knot right under me boobs inside, and it can last for hours if I don't do something to get rid of it, like, you know, go to the gym or just kind of watch a funny movie with my boyfriend or something. This question is really good. Mila said, I was watching one of your old vlogs from autumn 2015. I can't believe so much of my life is on the internet, where you were asking what is love from your viewers and giving it a lot of thought. Because I think I've only been in love 3 times in my life, and
kind of like I want the best for those people, and I want them to be happy, and each time that I have fallen in love, I grow and I become kind of a different version of myself, or better version of myself. You also have love, and then you have infatuation, and I think infatuation is when, you know, you first meet someone and you've got like sexual chemistry with them and you just want to be around them all the time and stuff like that. But there's a big difference, and I think love is something, me personally, I feel like it's something that has to grow a lot over time. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. But no, really, I want to know what it is. Like, what is love? I want to know.
How would you yourself answer that question now, almost 3 years later, having found this person who you call the love of your life? And I was in a very strange place when I made that video. I had left a long-term relationship with someone I cared for and loved, but I didn't feel that it was romantic love. I tried to talk myself into staying in that relationship for a long time, but aside from all the problems me and that person had, it wasn't that in love kind of feeling. And I did talk a lot about this in my book, Fully Functioning Human Almost. Hoodies are now only €22, just to let you know. But yeah, I'd experienced a massive infatuation that then didn't really come to anything. It was just a really bad time, wrong fit. And then I was kind of falling into another infatuation at the time. And I was really conflicted and confused, because I know a lot of really happy couples who are married or not married or whatever, who just, when I looked at them, I just wanted what they had so desperately. I've always been a quite romantic type, you know, in my head. I just always had this desire, because I've so much love in me, and I just feel like I need to channel it somehow. How I'd answer that question now, if it's romantic love we're talking about, which is what I was talking about in that vlog, he is part of me. He is an extension of me. Anything he does affects me. It makes me proud, or, you know, if he's stressed, I feel it. If he's happy, I feel it. He makes me giddy and comfortable at the same time. Somehow he has this amazing ability to soothe me, calm me, reassure me. We're each other's rocks. We're there for each other. We're best friends, but we also really fancy each other. And it was a slow burner. Like, as I've said before, I've known him since I was a teenager. We've had a very, very long flirtation through, like, both of us having other relationships and stuff like that. There was always some kind of spark between us, and it just wasn't the right time. Like, I didn't really see him in that way in the past, because I kind of didn't give it a chance. I was taken. Like, I wasn't looking for someone else while I was with my ex. I think because it was such a slow burn, and because we sort of fell for each other as he had to move over here. Like, we were dating for about a month. We're together about 15 months now or whatever. And as you know, a lot of it was long distance. And now I've been living with him solidly for 2 months in one small room. And we are closer than ever. We're just so excited to spend our lives together and to share life. I feel like everything's so much more fun when he's involved in it. Like I said in that video, when I'd be in a gorgeous situation, like looking out on the lake that I was looking at in that video, I would want to experience it with someone that I was really intimate with. Like, it's different when it's a family member, I feel, or a friend. It's just a different thing, and it's hard to describe when you've not experienced that. I don't believe in like one soulmate, but I believe in the one you choose, and the one you choose to like work hard at it. Because it's not like completely easy being in love. There's really difficult days. It's very hard to be vulnerable sometimes, because you have that fear that if you're really vulnerable, they won't like what they see and they'll leave. It's enriched my life in ways I'll never be able to describe with words. I'm going to try and explore it through writing novels. That's how I'm going to try and explore my feelings about love. Michelle said, can you tell us anything about your upcoming book? So it's coming out hopefully next year. The title of it is If Only. I will be sharing a pre-order link in one of my monthly vlogs as soon as I get it, and on social media. It is about a woman turning 30 named Erin Beglin. She has just cancelled her wedding, and her granny has a birthday gift for her that will change her life forever. I don't want to give too much away. I really, really don't. I'm kind of keeping this very tightly to me, because it's like my baby right now, especially before it's edited and stuff. I don't want to say too much, but a lot of what I explore and talk about on the internet, I feel is woven into the characters and the plot. And I am so excited about it though, and I can't wait. Like, I wish I could give more away, but there's an item in the book that I am working on making a real tangible thing that I can hold myself. I am going to have a playlist released as the book is released. There's certain songs that I kind of wrote each chapter to, like while listening to those songs. Alice said, what's your plan for your hair? I am going to be letting it grow as long as I can, keeping it as in nice condition as I can, and I may play around with the colour, but I want to get it to like long brown balayage for when I'm getting married. Quinton asked, do you think people should have to come out, or should it just be taken as anyone can love anyone else, as in people don't have to label themselves and stuff like that? Ultimately, like in the future, I think that would be the ideal, perfect dream scenario, that you just wait until someone tells you who they fancy or who they're in love with and stuff like that. But I don't know, at the same time, I see the need for descriptors, especially as someone who just loves reading and language. If you want to say something really quick, like my politics are probably left-leaning, or I want to dye my hair ginger, or I really like chocolate milk. I do see value in labels, and right now, especially with the way the world is, people kind of gravitate toward that because it's a community, it's a place for them to feel safe and accepted. But I do get what you mean. It would be unbelievable if people didn't assume everyone was straight until they say otherwise, if that makes sense. Retta said, I would love you to cover a topic about what happens after a long distance relationship ends, so it's like not long distance anymore. How I adjust to the mindset that your significant other lives with you or in the same city or whatever. For me, like, I kept my life as it was. Like, I just incorporated him into my life. He never became like my whole life or anything like that. So not all that much has changed, other than us kind of having to get used to being around each other a lot more. So, you know, just studying with each other, being together in silence, dealing with each other's conflicting schedules and stuff like that. It takes time, definitely. I think when you're long distance, it's very exciting, but when you're together, like, finally, it's much more fulfilling or something like that. I don't know. I'm more calm and happy. I'm definitely less on edge because I don't have that kind of constant countdown to the next visit. There, it's more like back to normal. Like, my next countdown is like my next big work project kind of thing. If it's a healthy relationship, when the long distance ends, it's just bloody brilliant. Really need to get used to hearing each other's farts, like, all the time. Sophie asked me what topic I'd love to make another short film on. Absolutely adored your last one. Thank you so much. I definitely want my next one to be about a toxic relationship. I'd love there to be a bisexual character in there, but yeah, I've just seen an awful lot of conversation. There's been so much conversation about toxic relationships lately, which is brilliant. But my mind is blown how much people will still turn around in situations like with Ariana Grande and Mac Miller, rest in peace, her being blamed for leaving him, and, you know, his overdose, his mental health and all that kind of stuff. It's disgraceful. I did a video all about toxic relationships. I do have a lot of opinions on it, so I'd like to explore a situation like that. Am I releasing any more merch items soon? I am indeed. Green Love heart pins, cushions and mugs will be added to my store soon, but also I am working on a wellness journal for Christmas time, hopefully. You guys know I do food diary videos. I'm passionate about self-care, water intake, bathroom habits, keeping note of mood changes, PMS, all that stuff. That'll be a collaboration with a different company, but just keep your eyes peeled because I'm very excited about it. Madeline said, would you trust Thomas to pick a tattoo for you and get it tatted? I think she means without seeing what it is beforehand. I think so. And I only say this because he has a huge tattoo down one side of his body that he drew himself. He's amazing at art. You guys don't really know very much yet about him, but he's incredibly talented. He knows that I would love to have a big phoenix tattoo. I'd love one on my back, but I don't know, I do trust him. Me and him want to get matching tattoos as well, to just kind of like mark our time in Spain, because we've had such lovely memories here while he's been studying here. Rachel said, if you ever have kids, how much access would you give them to the internet, and how involved would they be in your videos? I am going to do my best to limit their access as much as possible, like maybe kind of limit it to certain things, because I know it's just kind of become standard that young kids use the internet, and I don't want them to be those weird children in class who aren't allowed do the thing that is just normal, but I really want to educate them about it from a very young age, and I don't think they'll be very involved in my videos, to be honest. I really like how Casey Neistat will show his kid and talk about his kid, but he won't really show her face. I quite like how Louise Pentland keeps Darcy's personality and private moments and like a lot of stuff out of her vlogs. She's talked about it before. Then the other side of me adores seeing family vlogs, seeing children just being children brings me so much joy. I still watch, Saucony Jolie's, the Mitchellacks. A smaller channel I highly recommend is The Youngs. They are so funny. It's such a new thing, vlogging. All I know is that any footage that exists of me as a child or as a toddler, as a teenager, I'm so grateful that it's there. Like, to be able, it's like a time machine. And I think once you're very respectful of your children and know that they will be adults themselves one day, and just keeping a lot back. But I don't see any problem in kids being online. Like, this person said, what's your thoughts on weightlifting 1 year after you started? Any mistakes you made in the beginning? Some more tips and tricks? Also, I'm in love with your body. That's a really nice thing to say. I adore lifting weights and interval training. It is so good for your mental health. It helps with anxiety. It helps with depression, bone density, diet-related disease, age-related diseases. Increases your lean tissue so you have more muscle, so you can get away with eating more food. I have better night's sleeps. I feel better. I feel more energetic. I go into a zone where it's just all about me and looking after myself. I love challenging myself. I do fall in and out of it though. Like, I go through phases where I'm not that motivated to go, or just get too busy. I don't have enough willpower or whatever, but sometimes I'll be going 3 times a week. And when it comes to like tips and tricks and stuff, I think I said this in another video, but like, I don't exactly get results with it because I don't do it enough. I don't like tweak my diet and I don't follow a plan. I just kind of go in, and I do usually try sets mixed in with like, say, jumping jacks or whatever to make it a bit more high intensity. My advice would be to watch a bunch of routines on YouTube and practice loads of different moves to find ones that you like doing that are also challenging, that like you have that sore feeling afterwards, because I do try new moves like every few weeks. Really loud, angry music helps, and just going regularly. I love it. I feel like everyone should be prescribed weightlifting. Izzy said, if I was to have children, do I have any names in mind that I've always loved? I actually don't. Thomas and I always refer to our first child as Jamie. That's a kind of unisex name, and I don't know how it started. I think it started not after Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones, but because I had a cat called Jamie that died. I think I was crying about Jamie dying one day to Thomas, and I don't know how it just, sometimes the way a weird joke gets like twisted and it morphs into another weird joke. But yeah, we always call our first child Jamie when we're talking about it, like, oh, that's us and Jamie, and oh, can't wait to do this with Jamie, and blah blah whatever. I feel like naming my children is going to be a surprise even to me. I'm gonna have to see their faces and decide. Someone said, why did I appear in my last short film? They said, hope this doesn't sound rude, I'm just genuinely curious whether it was because of budget or cameo, or you just like acting. I genuinely didn't have a budget for that movie. I was just spending out of my own bank, which I later realized was the stupidest thing. It cost me thousands. I just really wanted a challenge. I was invited to screen something at Buffer Festival, and I wanted to step it up from the short I made the year before by doing an actual film. So I needed a crew, I needed actors, I needed a script. It was like location. It was so hard to do it all myself. Sure, the dad in the film is my uncle, and the sister, the main girl in the film, is my cousin. So yeah, I don't know. I have always loved the idea of being an actor and stuff, but I don't think I am passionate enough about it to pursue it. Like, do drama school and go and do auditions and stuff. I'm more into the idea of behind the scenes on films rather than being in front of the camera, which is ironic. What calms me when I'm feeling stressed and anxious? Thomas's big bear hugs, watching an episode of a show that I'm loving, going for a long walk, listening to calm music, having a bath, and I miss baths. We don't have a bath in this room where we're staying on campus, or reading a book. Even sometimes watching vlogs as well. Do you approach writing with structure and a plan, or do you use looser methods like free writing? It is mostly free writing. I have a very general plan, like I have beginning, middle, end, and then random scenes that I want to happen, but I am getting to know everything about my characters and my story as I'm going. I know like the key scenes that have to happen for like the climax to happen and stuff, but yeah, I'd say mostly free writing, which is a bit of a shitstorm nightmare. If you can plan, I would. This is a good question. Robin said, do you think you'd have been a published author without your YouTube career? 1,000,000%. I was hell-bent on publishing. I was offered a publishing deal by Glasshouse Press and a few other really, really small publishing companies when I put my first novel, Lore, onto Autonomy, which was a website run by HarperCollins years and years ago. My first book was a high fantasy young adult book. It was about a young girl who is a seer, and she would sleep and a part of her would drift off and cross a barrier into an alternate reality, which in the book is where like all folklore and fairy tale and everything that humans have ever told in like classic fairy tales and stories, all of that exists and comes from this really weird place called Lore, and I loved it. It was terribly written, I think, but I think the concept was great and interesting and fun, and I think if I had kept going with that, or like my second book that I worked on was called The Hat Man and the Thief. I've always written, and I've talked about this in other videos before. Ever since I was a child, I've been writing and getting copybooks and starting a book. I think one of the first books I started, I was like 8, and it was called The Four Elementors or some crap. I wasn't that great of a writer. My prose was very flowery and clumpy. I was kind of shit, but I needed this time. I think now is the time to practice and get good. Hopefully by the time I'm 40, I'll have written some books that I'm proud of. Oh, how are you?
Yeah!
We have a guest, my friends.
What are we talking about this time?
We're doing a Q&A.
A Q&A?
Did you bring me lunch, you sexy bastard?
I brought you your luncheons.
Oh, thanks. Susie, something weird that turns you on. Something weird that turns me on. I quite like the way he smells when he's not washed.
This.
Yeah.
What I'm wearing right now.
Uniforms, being turned on by a uniform isn't weird. That's very standard sexual fantasy. I have...
Hi.
Kate, where do you want to be in 10 years from now? 10 years. Oh.
Giving me a kiss.
A kiss.
I know, a 10 years from now kiss.
Yeah. I want to be married to that thing behind me. I'd like to have some children's. I'd like to have a few published books. I'd like to have more business stuff going on. Maybe have a master's. Either be in the process of doing a master's. I just want to be happy and living in Dublin, surrounded by my friends and family.
With Pan the pig.
Oh, Pan the pig. We're going to get
Argentino the dog.
Albus the dog.
Albus the dog.
Loads of
the chickens. We're gonna have 3 chickens named Keith, John, and Simon.
So yeah, that's my Q&A. I need to go and eat the lunch he's brought me because I'm so hungry.
Delicious luncheons.
There was loads more questions, but this is really long, as you can tell. I don't have time to answer them all, unfortunately. But if you want to come and follow me on Instagram, I will do a live stream when I hit 100,000 followers. I'm nearly there, so I'll see you over on Instagram. And thanks for watching. Give a thumbs up if you liked it.
One of these.
Yeah.